All right, what's going on, everybody? So, guys, just got done watching Havoc, new movie on Netflix there, starring Tom Hardy, directed by Gareth Evans. Not many people familiar with Gareth Evans. He has done the Raid 1, the Raid 2, displaying some of the best action fight scenes in any movie in all of history. And then we have Tom Hardy, who is just, of course, the man. Personally, one of my favorite actors. He embodied one of my absolute favorite characters in all of television with Alfie Solomon. But we got this movie here, man. Very action-packed, intense, but very little substance from what I felt. So I'm going to dive into it a little bit here, guys. So this movie, of course, just to tell you a little bit about his background, this movie was announced back in like 2020 that it was going to be released. We're like, man, wow, Gareth Evans working with Tom Hardy. I couldn't imagine, what they're going to do, right? Especially after seeing the Raid 1 and 2. Well, this movie was done at the end of 2021, but doesn't get released until 2025, and I think there was reasons for that. It was definitely shelved for a reason. This movie does lack very little substance, very little story. However, the action makes up for it, guys. Tom Hardy plays like this very hardened detective who's on the take. He has movies narrated by him. Then he go ahead and turns to a gang of individuals who are hijacking an 18-wheeler full of goods, and of course, only to make some money. And they're getting chased by these cops. The individual inside the truck decides, hey, go ahead and stop this cop. So let me go ahead and throw a washing machine. This washing machine lands onto the cop car, puts the cop into a coma. This cop in the coma happens to be very good friends with Tom Hardy, and actually admired Tom Hardy, looked up to him. As this is happening, we get introduced to Timothy Olyphant's character, who he runs like a ragtag team of other detectives that are on the take. So while this is all going on, we turn back to those gang members, which is led by Charlie. And Charlie happens to be the son of the mayor, who is played by Forest Whitaker. Forest Whitaker, one of my favorite actors, man. So I'm glad to see him in here. But this is another thing about this movie, too, is you got great actors. Forest Whitaker, Timothy Olyphant, Tom Hardy, and let me not forget Luis Gomez, who I'm going to talk about here in a moment. But great actors, and I believe that a lot of their talents were wasted in this case. Like I said, very little substance, especially with what they had to play with, right? So Charlie is, of course, going to go meet his friend. His friend happens to be leader of a triad gang, and so he's, of course, going to work with him, sell those goods. Well, while this is happening, you see a group in the shadows of the alley in a van wearing these black demon-looking hockey masks, right? He goes and he's texting one of the, looks like enforcers or somebody who plays a part into the triads, right? And it looks like they're working together. They come in and they kill everybody, right? Charlie and his girlfriend, they get away. And that's when you get introduced to Luis Gomez. Luis Gomez happens to be someone who raised Charlie's girlfriend, and they're looking to get away, understandably. Well, of course, who's going to investigate this crime? Well, Tom Hardy, right? So Tom Hardy, he sees that it was a bloodbath. He sees that it was assault rifles used, things like that. Tells his partner to go do this. Meanwhile, he knows what's going on. Tom Hardy happens to be working with Forest Whitaker. He does dirty things for Forest Whitaker, and he said he's fed up with doing those things. So this will be the last job that he's going to do. Okay. All right. Simple, cliche, something we're used to, right? Okay. All right. So Tom Hardy, looking for Charlie, finds Charlie, and this is where we have the best part of the movie. They meet up in a club, and while they're at a club, you see Timothy Olyphant and his gang, and then on top of it, you have the Chinese triads also after Charlie, because guess what? The leader of that gang was killed. His mother's in town, and who does she think done it? Charlie. So now, Tom Hardy character who is just straight up kicking ass, and like I said, this is the best part of the entire movie. And so from there on out, they're pretty much on the run from this Chinese triad gang. Only much to be followed up to go to Tom Hardy's lake house. So the Chinese triads, they take Forest Whitaker, who happens to be the mayor. take him, find out where Tom Hardy is, so they give up his son, this and that cliche stuff, which ends up leading to the scene at the very end where they're at the lake house and it just gets shot up. This movie is super far-fetched. And my wife used a great word where she said overkill. It was just a little overkill with some of the action, especially some of the shooting when she individuals getting shot. It was just a little too much overkill. Action was just fantastic though. Great fight scenes. But overall, it definitely lacked its substance, its story. Definitely could have used their talent a lot. Could have utilized their talent a lot better. I would give this movie, guys, a 5 out of 10. It's definitely, like I said, it's entertaining enough because of the action alone. But don't come in here expecting this just fantastic movie, guys. It's definitely middle of the pack. It's entertaining for sure. Definitely give it a watch, especially if you're a fan of movies, you're a fan of Tom Hardy. He gives a top performance as always. These actors really give what they could for what they had to work with, I think. And like I said, Gareth Evans, he doesn't shy back from his action. I think that he did a great job with that part. I thought visually some parts looked pretty cool. Very comic bookish, almost Sin City-like. You want to be a good comparison to this movie, I would say, would be a movie called Shoot 'Em Up with Clyde Owens. If you ever check that out, Shoot 'Em Up was just a super over-the-top movie with guns and shoot, and it was just crazy over the top. I thought this movie was very comparable in that matter. So let me know what you guys think. Put it down in the comments below. Hasta la vista.